Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another episode of the Nameless Shameless podcast, which is obviously the most fun that I have doing this thing over the last 3 or 4 weeks. But all right, special guest tonight in house. We have Mark Houston. Mark, how you doing? How you doing?
It's good to be here. It's good to be next to you. It feels
Thanks,
really good.
You know, it's been a long time.
It has been a long time. I probably haven't seen you since probably strolling along in Best Buy.
Yeah.
Somewhere I ran into you at maybe when I was leaving.
I would say so. Yeah, I was there for like a long time. And when you work in a retail store, you see a lot of people. And it's kind of cool to see some people you haven't seen in a long time too, coming in and out of there because everybody needs something from there.
That's right.
So it's nice.
Knowing you since I was we were talking about this playing soccer.
Yeah,
probably like
St.
10 years
Francis
old.
of Assisi soccer.
St. Francis, yeah,
it was good stuff.
Those days of running are long gone for me.
Yeah, is that right? Mark,
the camera does add 142 pounds from what I hear, so I'm actually not this big in real life. Just kidding,
guys. It's the camera. It's adding.
It really
weight.
is.
It's adding the weight.
I've used that excuse for a long time, even without a camera. So.
Well, Mark, you've called in like the last 3-4 shows now.
Yeah, 3 or 4 shows,
something like
that.
Fun. So
it's fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been cool to actually rekindle and actually see you guys and or see you and hang out and then get to catch up with you, man, because it's been a while. I know my brother ended up buying a car from you. So what dealership are you at right now?
I am at Dave Munganass, St. Louis Honda on South Lindbergh.
There you go. So
if
anybody needs a Honda,
come see Chump. Mark Houston. He'll take care of you.
He'll take care of you. I remember. I'm going to throw this out there. One of my fondest memories of you is I remember. I think we were playing Sega Genesis in the living room of my parents' house. We were young. I want to say we were probably 11, 12 years old.
Probably.
I remember playing a sports game because, I'm really into that or something like that. And I ended up losing and got super, super frustrated. And you looked at me with a straight face and like kind of a Chris Farley look and said, would it make you feel better if I took my shirt off? And I remember just busting out laughing. It's one of my favorite memories of you because you always had a really good sense of humor.
I still offer that option today. I still don't have any takers. I'm waiting. Right? I'm waiting for someone to bite and no one ever does. So.
I'll be darned. So let's see. Do some math there. It's over 20 years, and you still yet to get someone to take you on that offer.
Even my wife told me to keep it on, so it doesn't even matter.
I'll be damned. But Mark, good to have you here, man.
It's good to be here.
It's good to have you, man. We got some general stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in, giving some people a minute to kind of jump in here if they're interested in what we're going to talk about. I want to jump into some of the most important news that I think all of you guys have maybe heard about, maybe not. The Tiger King just doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. I mean, there's rumors right now that Nicolas Cage is going to be playing Exotic Joe in a made-for-TV series of the Tiger King.
It's when you're just taking any job you can find, I guess, at this point.
Well, this is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not shy of taking any job that just comes along, but how are you going to feel about watching Nicolas Cage as Exotic Joe? If you're out there and you're watching, please put in the comments what your thoughts are on that.
I'd like to hear that.
Now, in other Tiger King news, there was I believe an Australian radio show that ended up doing a prank on Carole Baskin, that bitch. I'll tell you what. And it's actually kind of funny how they ended up doing it. It was a good article to read, actually. And long story short, they had approached her saying that they wanted to have her on the Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel show. I can't remember which one of the two it was. And that because of COVID-19, that they could not have like a live grouping, or so she couldn't see them live. They had to do it remotely, obviously, or over the phone. And I want to say they had pre-recorded questions for her.
I'd like to know what they were.
Yeah, I would love to see that as well, too. But they ended up pulling up all these questions and talking to her. And she said she kind of felt like something was off about it because, they were just sounded like a recorded question. No, recorded questions, I think is what she said. But they actually gave her, instead of completely embarrassing her, make it into a ruse where, it can make her look any possibly worse than she does already. They let her plug her Wildcat organization, this and that. But it's actually a completely hilarious story. If you haven't heard about it, please go and take a look. But Carole Baskin was pranked by 2 people from a radio show. And apparently she said her daughter talked her into doing it. She apparently said she turned it down the first time. And her daughter talked her into doing it because I think it was such a big talk show and it ended up being a complete hoax or big, complete joke. So what would you do about that if you had somebody like a radio show like prank you like that? You're thinking you're going to go on Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and then all of a sudden you realize you're talking to two Australian radio talk show hosts.
I'd be pretty disappointed, but look how popular that show is. I couldn't believe that they actually made it into like a real series. I remember there's like 30 people. You haven't watched the Tiger King yet?
I'm curious.
And I'm like, no. And I'm just sitting there with my mouth open. I'm like, how did this get like done? How are they okay with what? Is this real? Is this a made up thing?
Right.
No, 100% real.
We got a couple of things going in the chat here real quick while we got some people here. Matt Joseph says Watson could be Joe's second husband. Oh my goodness. That is a terrible just even idea or even thought in my head right now, but I'm sure he wouldn't be happy with that comment. But yes, Matthew Seebeck messaged me after the show, man, and thanks for tuning in. And I'd love to chat with you about some of that stuff for sure. Going on to a couple other things that we got right now, as if things are not as bad as they already are. There's rumors. You may have seen this as well too. This is one of my favorite articles I read. There are murder hornets being spotted in Washington area. These things are about 2 inches long. And what they do is they attack bee colonies, beehives. And they actually destroy, like rip the heads off of these bees and kill the hives and try to, they're very brutal. Territorial. They're normally from Asia. And I don't think they have a reason or an idea of why that they're here. But they're showing up in Washington, and these things apparently can sting you multiple times. They have neurotoxins in them and they could kill you. Hence the name murder hornets. Yeah. It's scary as hell.
It continues to rain shit on 2020.
2020 continues to rain shit. Absolutely.
Killer hornets is what we've got going on now.
Right.
It's like something out of Jumanji.
Right. My friend Sean Kalmar is tuning in. He says they can actually take out mice. So apparently there's a video out there of these murder hornets actually killing small rodents as well too. That's intense.
That's pretty gnarly.
I don't know if I want to see that. Let's go over a couple good things real quick. We have in the local aspect, a couple firefighters from High Ridge went over to 250 houses in the actual High Ridge area of graduates, allowing them to cap and gown, take pictures, and have some sort of a graduation as like a thank you, or, to kind of help ease some of the homesick.
Looking for some positives out of it, it's pretty cool. The birthday party things and people doing things like that. You kind of got to reach for things right now, to be happy about. But people are trying, and they're
we were sitting here earlier and we heard a couple, like I would say today alone, I've heard one or two of those birthday parades going around. That's becoming more of a common thing. So I think that's neat that people are doing that, just to be able to see friends and family and wish them a happy birthday. Definitely. So
very good.
Obviously there's other stuff that's been going on in the news as well. We have the stay-at-home orders that are ending today, or that ended today.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
3-phase process as far as it's going to go. Some of the important things that I think is nice that it's going to be starting back up is that retail is going to be able to limit the amount of shoppers, not including employees. So that's good news to get people able to get in, like maybe Home Depot and whatnot, to where maybe it's a little bit more lenient or something like that, because it's a nightmare trying to get in and out of Home Depot right now. I'm telling you, it's not fun. Don't go up there. Also, Afton firefighters, I forgot about this. This is other good news.
Yeah.
Did a nice parade for a 100-year-old woman in the Afton area and actually made it a nice special birthday for her going around. So within the midst of everything that's going on, being an essential worker, they're still giving back to the community. My cousin Tim is a firefighter, and I love him to death, man. He goes out there and puts his neck on the line, and
very awesome.
And
cool.
And does it day after day. So thank you, Tim. We appreciate that.
It's cool to see everyone trying to be supportive and doing fun things for people. You got to stay as positive as you can right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I think, it's a lot easier to just get, down about things, but things like that are always good to hear.
So. Oh, definitely. Now, besides the retail limits, the individual workers are exempt. So apparently your dentists and barbers can open up too. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh my gosh, I need a haircut. I'm including myself in that whole thing. I need a haircut probably as bad as anyone else here.
I probably would. But,
yeah.
My hair stopped growing about 12 years ago. So
I'm sorry.
I've been lucky. It's just a buzz.
Yeah.
And my facial hair grows faster and hair in other places than my head. So
it's easy for you to just give yourself the quick buzz and be done with it.
And I look good.
I got to be fancy. I got to get the line cut in and stuff, and get the high and tight, as Joe would call it. So, But no, that's good to hear. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be relieved that they can do that. Maybe other businesses as well too. I know that I need to get my dog up to the vet and to get groomed, and they haven't been open, so I need to go get his nails done like immediately. Immediately.
I need to get my dogs in there too. Got to get the anal glands done. They're pretty bad. So
that's never
just
fun.
a fact.
That's never fun. And it's that time of year, man.
And, I've watched YouTube videos, and I'm just not gonna do it. Just not gonna do it.
So we also have in traveling news, right? So people, I mean, obviously traveling has been scarce, or the air flight industry and whatnot has been taking a huge hit with this whole thing. But Carnival Cruise says that they are going to be opening up and starting, August 1st. They're going to start phasing in some cruises, potentially maybe at half capacity or 3/4 capacity to, still social distance or keep the distance between people.
Crazy. It's crazy. But I mean, you got to get back to somewhat of a normal situation and slowly pace yourself back in. But
yeah, I mean, is it too soon though? Like, I mean, people are like, oh, we're opening up, and you can't necessarily go like gung ho and think that it's going to be everybody's going to go back to normal.
It's awfully quick and the concert thing.
Yeah,
you kind of I think they touched on that they're going to do some concerts, and there's going to be
concerts. Yeah, as of Monday, they're apparently opening up and allowing concerts with social distancing. I haven't figured out how that's going to be a thing. However,
it's going to work.
There was a concert in another country that my friend Boomer sent me a video for. It was in like Germany or something like that, where they had like a drive-in concert. Where like there was lines of cars, like as if they were just sitting there in an old school drive-in atmosphere.
I would be interested in that.
And I wonder if they had like the actual radios that they would put inside the car too to give you like
that would be cool,
better sound. So yeah, that's interesting.
Very cool. I like
concerts starting back up. I know that's Nick's like favorite thing, like the music aspect. Nick is actually out of town right now. He's normally the one that's here. He's my co-host of the show. So Nick, we hope you're having fun, buddy, and definitely tell Paul and them that we said hi, and we'll see you Thursday whenever you get back, man.
Try to hold it down, Nick.
He's got big shoes to fill.
Big shoes, yeah.
So another good news as far as like Missouri goes, I would say that there is a Mizzou researcher who is the one who's responsible for identifying 4 possible treatments for COVID-19. So I know one of them was apparently put at like having a 33% rate to help out. Like, so if you were normally going to be sick for 2 weeks or whatever it would be, you'd be like 10 days or 11 days or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean that's promising. It's good to see that they have stuff.
You're looking for anything positive. Whenever you get anything like that, you're hopeful. But I mean, it's a scary thing. I think people are still scared about it. But I'm trying to be as cautious as I can be. But I also want to live.
I agree.
And I get anyone's feelings of not wanting to do certain things, but at the end of the day, I just got to get out.
Oh yeah,
get a break.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So I of course have my Dr. Pepper here with me as always because I'm a huge fan of Dr. Pepper. But I noticed that you brought in something tonight that you wanted to talk about as well too.
I brought in some fancy beer from Center Ice Brewing, which is if anyone knows, it's down kind of. I'd say that's by SLU. It's by SLU, and it's part of Pappy's right there. And I mean, really cool place. I mean, if you're a hockey person, go there, grab a couple beers. This one's called the Beauty. It's kind of like a pale ale type thing. So
it's got the hockey guy.
It's got the hockey guy. It's got the bearded guy on the can, and they do rides to the arena too.
Okay.
So you got shuttling if you want to do that, and they got old boards and stuff like that in the place. So it's a
good atmosphere
for the hockey people on here,
especially for the hockey people.
Absolutely. You need to definitely stop by there and have a cold one and maybe take that as a free ride.
Yeah. Now, is this one of your favorite from this brewery, or do they
This is one of my favorites. They do all types of stuff. They got the Puck of the Irish. Reeves had a brew that he did with the Puck of the Irish, and they're always coming up with new stuff. So, I mean, they're kicking, you got to support these local breweries that are still going, and you can always stop by there and get stuff to go. They'll bring it out to you. So,
yeah, definitely. Now, I noticed too. I mean, we're known for having AB. That's a big thing. That's a big staple for anybody that comes through the St. Louis area. I mean, that's where we're based out of. So, having Anheuser-Busch here and having a history of the breweries and whatnot, that you're starting to see, and this is just my opinion because I would like to throw this out there as well. I'm not really a beer drinker, right? I drink liquor. Not
Dr. Pepper.
I mean, occasionally, and Dr. Pepper. Yeah, that's my staple right there. So, I don't really have too much of an opinion on beer, but I do know that there's a lot of those spots that are popping up as of late.
I mean,
right?
in St. Louis, I mean, we have maybe some of the best beer you can find. Perennial, Four Hands, Second Shift. I mean, all these places that you could go to, and it's good beer. It's probably the best craft beer you can get. Side Project, another good one. So I mean,
a good friend of mine that I used to manage with me, Tony Zerbin, old operations manager at Best Buy, really good dude. He was a huge fan of Four Hands.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember I wanted to get him something for like Christmas one year, and ended up asking a mutual friend, and they were like, "Oh, he loves Four Hands." So I know they got a bunch of different flavors, right?
Yeah,
that's like
tons
their
of
thing.
Different stuff. I mean,
they do like a Halloween ale or something like
the
that.
Chocolate milk stout and a lot of different stuff. But it's always support these these smaller places that they're struggling right now. They can't have people there, so you get a chance to go by there. And
where can you get something?
That? You can get Center Ice pretty much anywhere. I got this at Friar Tuck's. It's getting more and more available at pretty much any grocery store. Of course, you can always go by the brewery, stop in, and they'll actually bring it out to you.
Okay.
You can do that online, I believe, as well.
Is it a pro to go there so you just get fresh beer when you go to them?
I mean, you
or
can.
Is it the same as if you were to get it from one of the local places?
I mean, it's still good either way you look at it. So it's more of just if you get a chance to try some of their stuff, give them a shot. Help out them smaller companies. Keep this thing going. Keep them going while we're all recovering from what's going on.
Absolutely. Now, everybody knows that there's nothing better to wash down, with a nice cold drink or something like that, but be like some good food. So you were telling me as of late that there's some food truck.
Yeah, there's going to be a food truck garden. I actually went over to the Afton area to kind of check it out, and it's very. They're saying next spring it's going to be done, but they're actually going to have like live streaming sporting events there. They're going to do movies, and I think there's going to be up to 10 food trucks there. It's going to be craft beer, so it'll be once we can all hang out together and get back together. It's a cool place to kind of hang out, and I think that'll be fun. Get some playoff hockey maybe going around here.
Definitely. I would love to get some playoff hockey going for sure.
It'll be a fun place. Another place.
I think that'll be whenever I have the first drink that I've had in a long time will be once hockey starts back up again, just to celebrate the fact that I got something good or some sports to watch.
I am ready for that. I'm ready for some hockey at any point.
Right. So. Jeff Rickerman says, just drink Crown, man. Hey,
I'm cool with Crown.
I'm not opposed to it, man. I would much prefer to do some liquor and whatnot than the beer. It's a personal preference, to each their own. I'm not going to knock anybody for doing their own thing or what they like, but I would say that Mark, you're my specialist on the craft beers as well too.
And there's so much here. I mean, there's so many good brewing companies in St. Louis. We love our beer here, and we're not afraid of taking chances on some of the stuff they make. And there's a lot of places to go. Check them out.
Right. I'm excited to try out maybe some of them food trucks too.
Oh yeah.
That's like an up and coming thing, right? Were food trucks as big of a deal 5 years ago as they are now?
I don't think they were as they are now. I mean, Four Hands has this little thing where you go down there and they have a huge food truck party.
Okay.
You can get all their beer, and then the food trucks just line up.
All the food trucks.
Just go whichever one you want. Strange Donuts.
Now, do they like collaborate with that too? I would imagine. So that way, it's like actually like, hey, we're gonna be like offering our different crafts for people to try out.
Absolutely.
People are gonna be hungry, obviously, with that as well too. So they just go out there and benefit from that as well.
Right. They'll do special releases. So they'll do certain beers. You can go inside the brewery and go get something, or they'll have pairings. Strange Donuts is usually involved. So they're always involved with stuff. So always the food truck thing is really taking off. I think there's
hell yeah.
And we'll have a lot of fun with that place when it opens. So
hell yeah. I have a fellow goaltender, Mike Grozeski, jumping on here. What's going on, buddy? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a long time. Be cool to catch up once all this stuff calms down. We got Andrew Atkins saying that he loves him some Four Hands.
I love some Four Hands.
Yeah. He says Divide Sky, Four Hands.
Always good. Divided Sky. Very
Divided
good.
Sky.
One of their first, I think that was one of their first ones they did, and that's a staple.
Yeah.
You can find it anywhere, and it's good.
Yeah. We have a cool story here. Actually, Jeff Rickerman says that his grandfather brought a food truck from California to here into St. Louis back in the 1960s, actually.
That is awesome.
So he's kind of a pioneer of the movement, Jeff. Yeah. I don't know if you could look into that. I mean, he might have been one of the first people to want to bring that around. Or you can tell me, I haven't done any research on this. Maybe that was a common thing back then as well.
It's taken off here. And
is there a resurgence? Is that what it's going on? Is the food trucks a resurgence?
I never really knew about it. I know they do. There's another festival downtown that they used to do.
Yeah.
That had, multiple brewing companies and food trucks and things like that. And I think It's really just blowing up.
Let's go to this real quick. We've got Jeff Rickerman saying hi, Kyle. How you doing, buddy? Thank you. He's been tuning in for the last 3-4 episodes, and I really appreciate it. I think a lot of people like listening to the sports talk. We like doing the general stuff at first to give some shout outs. So absolutely. If anybody has any comments that they ever want to talk about, come to our group. It's free to get into the group, or it's open, it's public. So you can join if you like, and it's an easy way to find our videos and also post up comments if you would like to hear us talk about any certain topic or anything like that.
Yeah.
Jordan Smith says, thoughts on the murder hornets? They're scary as hell. I would not want to run into a group of murder hornets. I think that it would be absolutely terrifying to see something that's 2 inches long. And Greg Bias made a comment in the chats that he can compare that to something else. I'm not going to repeat that on air, but you guys can go ahead and read that. It was pretty funny. I had a laugh about that.
2 inches.
Jeff also is confirming here that he was one of the first, or he was the first in St. Louis, and he had about 20 or 30 of them. So it was a significant significant endeavor. It sounds like that he brought to make that even a thing back here.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Lifelong viewer and fan as well. Jimmy Tracy is tuning in as well. Thank you again. Hasn't missed a show. We appreciate the support from everybody. Definitely.
Yeah.
So we've got some other stuff to talk about here in just a little bit. We're going to get into some sports, but do you guys have any questions? I know we got some people that are out there watching right now. If you guys have anything that we've talked about or any general news, shout outs, local businesses that you want us to talk about, put it out in the comment section and let us know. It's something we've been trying to advocate and whatnot as far as it goes. Oh, Jordan says that he agrees on the Hornets. Very scary. He goes, watch the video for one of those. It could kill a mouse. Yeah, it's actually crazy.
That's insane.
Crazy. So, yeah, what do we have here? Jeff says, why is Missouri putting off legalizing weed, even though it's passed for medical a couple years ago, and it's so hard for her to get going? I don't know. I mean, honestly, I've watched. There's stuff on Netflix. There's stuff on Hulu. There's things like that are going on, and Illinois is just in a way different mind state than us, and it's crazy because we're so close to them. And I think that what they're doing is good for people. I think it's helping out for certain causes medically for people that have certain disorders and things that help keep it under control. And there's a lot of really cool stuff on Netflix to watch for people that have like cerebral palsy or MS, I believe it was. Who actually were using it to help calm some of the nerves and to be able to talk, where this one girl was like actually even stuttering like uncontrollably. And then she would actually, I forget if she was doing edibles or if she was smoking it or whatnot, but then she would actually be able to structure a sentence. It was crazy,
awesome.
Like for somebody like that who could live, it's a life-changing thing for some of them. So Jeff, that's on the ballot, I think, every single year. All we can do is just see what happens, and
time might just eventually get that done.
I think it will.
I mean, it's
the most commonly talked about topic. I think that even one of my teachers said at one point too, that it's like one of the things that most students actually wrote about, like, growing up as well too, as far as the legalization and whatnot. But it's always a good talk. I'd say that even the hemp side of it, as far as the paper and the textiles and stuff that you can, make from that alone, is a beneficial thing for people as well. I know there's a lot of hemp fields that are out there, maybe even more than the actual pop field. So that would be that's a good question, Jeff. I'm not sure, but we'll have to just wait and kind of see that. Let's see. So Jeff's also saying that he has not seen those commercials on essential mechanic shops. It's all about the grocery worker and the doctors and nurses. Yeah, man, honestly, I'll shout out to the mechanics because in the craziness of everything that's going on with people needing to get to where they need to go, those guys are still working and not really talked about to help kind of keep common days go. Maybe not just your general mechanic too. Let's talk about the ones that help keep the semi trucks going, that maybe deliver the goods across the United States to allow you to have toilet paper and other things like potentially hand sanitizer in your local grocery stores.
A lot of people helping, a lot of people you can't forget about. So I work at an auto dealer. So, I mean, people have issues. They need to get to where they're going, and we're still rolling. We're rocking and rolling. We'll take care of people as much as we can. So,
absolutely. Yep. Sam Houston chimes in and says the health department in Missouri is dealing with the coronavirus, and the medical marijuana was put on the back burner. You may be right about that. Honestly, it's a priority thing, and I think that we need to focus on the importance of what's going on right now, and just trying to find out how we can stop the spread of this crazy thing that's going on. So. I agree, though. We'll see how that ends up coming to fruition here over time. So we've talked about some beer. We talked about some food trucks. I mean, let's talk about your jersey that you got on right now.
This is I want to say this was probably 96, 97.
Okay.
The Ducks wore this for about 3 games. And then I think the players had their thought of, no way in hell am I wearing that again.
They thought that was the ugliest jersey that they've ever seen.
They came out and played games with this thing. They actually played the Blues. I think they worked them over and beat them like 5-1.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
I love the jerseys. For those of you that don't know Mark that well, basically he has like a collection of not just jerseys but game worn jerseys. I like to collect like Hollywood memorabilia, and he's more on the sports memorabilia side of it. So whenever you do see Mark on here, he'll probably have a new jersey every single time that he's on.
Pretty much every chance it'll probably be something different. So you count on something weird I'll probably have on that most players didn't want to be caught dead in. But, it was a time and place. And when I was 12 years old, hockey at that time was definitely all I was interested in. And I mean,
like I said earlier too, we used to trade hockey cards.
Yeah.
That was a big part of our life whenever we were young, for sure. Matt Jacobsmeyer says here real quick, he goes, "Did you fire Nick already?" He goes, "Your wingman is new." For those of you who are just tuning in or whatnot, who have not seen some of the prior episodes, we've actually been calling Mark on as like our local sports analyst or specialist when it comes to hockey, and we did some baseball talk the other time as well.
Yeah, that was very good.
Nick is actually visiting his father and was unable to do the show. He'll be back Thursday, but yes, Nick is my co-host. We have Mark just filling in tonight.
I am filling in
for Nick, so that way whenever he gets back, we'll be right back at it.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, once everything gets back to normal too, and I get my multiple cameras set up and whatnot, we can have up to 4 people here, and I think that'll be a lot of fun to have a round table and be able to talk to some people as well as call people in and have their thoughts on some things as well.
That'll be very cool. Very cool.
So we got Jeff Rickman says that he runs the CarX out in Baldwin, and he has not had a day off but today. So thank you, man. Jeff, thank you for doing that work, keeping people to get to the essential things that they need to do, whether that's work or grocery stores or whatever it is that they need to keep themselves going at this time. So we appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we wanted to put something together. So I had actually recommended a movie, and I think some other people did, because Mark is a horror flick. Like
I'm
this
a horror movie guy.
Extravagant.
That's just what I am.
He loves it. Like, so I'm more of a comedy. I love sci-fi and whatnot. So we decided to, in the whole quarantine or while you have some downtime to throw out, whether maybe new or old, just maybe our top 5. I'm going to go with my top 5 sci-fi. Maybe not in any order, and I'm sure that there's others that could have easily made this list, but just some throwback to go back and look at if you wanted to. And then Mark here is going to give you his top 5 horror flicks to check out here during the whole COVID quarantine as well.
Yeah.
Starting off first, a movie that you just watched last night, The Fifth Element, is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That was something.
So, I think that one has standed the test of time. It is one that would probably have been better if you watched it back whenever it first came out.
But you know what? It was still, it was wild. Just the whole story of it all,
Yeah.
Chris Tucker being a very odd character,
it was a very
different role. So I'd recommend
role.
watching it. No matter what, at least watching it once is worth giving it a shot. And Bruce Willis is fantastic in it.
Yeah.
So
Bruce Willis is good. Mila Jovovich was good.
Yeah.
As far as like the sci-fi stuff goes,
right?
Gary Oldman was in it as well.
Right.
Luke Besson was the one that directed that flick. He ended up coming out with another sci-fi as recently that I had very high hopes for, which was that Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. And it was just, to me, it visually stunning, looks good and whatnot. It just was not. It didn't live up to like the Fifth Elements. I'd say kind of. It was. Just start to finish, it was a good movie, and I was hoping the same thing for Valerian, and it just wasn't there. So number 2 to revisit or watch if you haven't seen it, obviously, is The Matrix. You guys got to go watch The Matrix if you haven't, because the rumor is that they're possibly coming out with another like either extension onto that. The only difference is that the Wachowski sisters are doing it instead of the Wachowski brothers, because both of them had sex changes. Fun fact for you guys.
That's
in case you didn't know
interesting.
that. Yeah, fun fact in case you didn't know that.
Wow.
So The Matrix might be coming out with some more movies. I'm excited. I'm a huge Keanu fan. I will absolutely be wearing my Keanu shirt one of these times. Today I'm rocking the Wayne's World.
We've been talking about that movie.
We have. It's one of my favorites.
Quoting it well.
I think one of my favorite quotes from Wayne's World is, "You bought me a gun rack. I don't even own a gun, let alone many to facilitate an entire rack.
What am I going to do?
Have you gone mental?
With a gun rack."
One of my favorite movies. So, but going on to my top 5 sci-fi, The Blade Runners as well too. Whether it's the first one with Harrison Ford from the 80s or if it's Blade Runner 2049, both of them are great. You can't have a sci-fi list of movies without Avatar. Still one of the greatest movies. I had it on TV the other day. I had to watch it. That's another one you have to watch. Yeah, that's another one you have to watch. That one is hands down probably one of the best sci-fi movies that I watched. And I was hopeful that they had a second one of those coming out too. Right. And then the last one, just a movie that never gets old to me, the new Mad Max Fury Road. Just a good watch start to finish. It's got a lot of action in it. I like the actors in there. Charlize Theron's in there. And it's just a really good kind of end of days kind of look at what it might be like if all hell broke loose. So that's my top list for you guys. If you haven't seen any of those movies and or series of movies, definitely go check them out. Runner up was the Alien series, obviously, for my friend Sean. They mostly come at night, mostly. So check those out if you haven't seen those for sure. That would definitely be good. Let's check real quick before we go to the horror stories of what we got here in the chat. Let's see. We've got Event Horizon, horror and sci-fi. Oh yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. Jimmy Tracy says he thought Avatar was trash. I like the movie, man. It's I'm pretty open to that sci-fi stuff and let my imagination kind of go with it, and I enjoyed it. I heard that they were going to do a second one. I think that would be excellent, but everybody has their own kind of thoughts on certain movies, things that I like, other people don't like, and vice versa. So I won't say that you're wrong if you think that way. You know, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it.
That's right.
We got Carl saying Fifth Element was legit though. Yeah, man, I had to get Mark to watch it. He had not seen it yet.
It was good, and for not, I had no idea what the plot was.
What year was that? 93?
97.
97. Sorry, 97 was when that movie came out too. So, want to ask you guys as well too. What do you think about? What do you know about multipasses? Lilu Dallas multipass, something like this right here.
There it is, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great movie. It stands the test of time for me, and for something that came out in 97 to still be relevant and watchable to this day is something that you can brag about.
Recommend it to people to watch.
Yeah.
So
we've got Jeff Chapman says that he's never seen Avatar. Yeah, you should definitely check it out. Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah. It was a big deal, but I never watched it. I also have never seen the Blade Runners that you brought up.
Really?
Never.
I got Mike Krzeski says Fifth Element is great, and what's her name is hot. That's Mila Jovovich.
She is,
and that was a young Mila Jovovich. She was probably like in a L'Oreal commercial or something like that back then because she was modeling before she got into her whole movie career. That was
probably right around Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, she was in Dazed and Confused as well.
Great movie.
Yeah. Great so movie. We got. Let's see what else we got here. We've got. No hate. Agree with the list. Just couldn't. Oh yeah, no, I understand, Jimmy. No worries. Trust me, I'm not offended by that. I got another friend that hasn't seen it. It blows me away whenever I like something so much that I look at somebody and say, "Oh, you've seen this, right?" And they're like, "No," and you're like, "Oh, dude, you got to see this, man. You got to see this." So let's see what else we got here. We've got Jeff saying so good on that. Let's see, and Jimmy says he couldn't watch it. Sam Houston says not a huge sci-fi guy, but he enjoyed Ready Player One. That was a runner-up too. I really enjoyed that movie.
I haven't got to watch that yet, and I've had about 5 people be like, "You haven't seen Ready Player One yet?"
The beauty of watching that is that the nostalgia of the Spielberg movies as you go throughout it is, I think, the coolest thing for some of us that grew up with some of those movies that were some of my favorites, like E.T. and whatnot growing up. So we got Duran in the house again. What's up, brother? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Carl throws Interstellar out there. That's a good watch, man. Really trippy ending. Don't like to spoil movies, so I'm not going to say anything like that. Jeff says I'm saying her name wrong. Is it not Mila Jovovich? Because if not, then I apologize. Hopefully she's not listening, so that way I didn't offend her, Jeff.
It'd be real nice if she was, though.
Yes, it would. It would. Let's see what else we got here. We've got Mayor Fink says that the book is so much better. What is so much better? Is that on the Interstellar comment from earlier? Just let me know in the comments on there. What else we've got here? So we've got people going on the movie topic. So I'm loving it. So that was just some actual sci-fi that we could throw together. A lot of those are on actually Netflix, Hulu, or any of those streaming services. So if you're interested in checking them out, definitely check them out and let me know what you think. We got Matt Bauer throws District 9 out there. Not a bad movie. It was a little different. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything like crazy, for me. But Mayor says Ready Player One's book was way better. So.
Wow.
Me personally,
I need to see that.
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I've read like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like Into the Wild, and some books that just really piqued my interest. But when it comes to reading a book, I'm way more of like a movie person. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like I can't get my imagination sparked while I'm reading it on paper, but I'm like more of a visualist whenever it comes to things like that. So I really wish that I could read a book and take away like, you know, how other people do, because they say the same things about some of these movies or TV shows that I've watched. Who knows? Maybe one of these days it'll spark in me, and I'll be able to get a little bit more into the books themselves. So
yeah, that's tough to do with the books. I've tried getting into the books, but usually after a few days I lose interest, or my kid starts crying, and then the whole idea is just ruined.
Oh, and congratulations, by the way.
Yes,
being a new dad. I'm a dad.
If anyone says it's not awesome, it is the coolest thing in the whole world.
I see you've been
throw
posting
up in my
pictures.
mouth, and I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Waking up and seeing him smile every morning is totally worth it.
That's awesome. That is an awesome thing.
Absolutely love it.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you.
Thanks,
and your wife, for sure.
Thank you.
So let's move over and see what you've got for some horror flicks, because that's another like genre that I'm not really like into that much.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier, and it's not. Let's be serious here. I don't get scared when it comes to like horror movies. I get really creeped out. Like most of like exorcism or poltergeist movies really like creep me out. But if it's just like a kind of flash scare, like flash in the pan thing, like I get like bored with it, or it doesn't entertain me. So it has to be like a really good horror movie in order for me to like it. So what do you got?
And that's really, I mean, I got a list here of my top 5. Some of these are classics, and you know what? One of these actually still creeps me out, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original ones.
Okay.
I mean, for 1974, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was at a whole different level. I mean, if you were at a drive-in theater and you saw that guy running with a chainsaw out, I mean, that was just something. And
then what age were we though when those movies came out?
I mean, I wasn't even born yet. That was 1974.
Right. Okay, so they're even better. So another one that stood a little bit of the test of time. Oh, Jimmy Tracy says congrats to you as well.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
So thank you, Jimmy. We appreciate
it. And then Nightmare on Elm Street was kind of, when I was, I remember me and my brother had bunk beds, and we would stay up late, and my parents would go to bed, and he would have like, Pet Sematary, and
all the good
Child's Play. I mean, those original classics. And we had, we would just wait till they went to bed and then turn it on. I was probably like 8 years old. So somehow it didn't affect me too much. I mean, I'm a little weird, but that's no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a couple things here. We have Matt Bauer says Ender's Game was crazy books too. And then also he said the Saw movies equal overrated. I think the first couple were good, and then like they started to taper off.
I thought the first one was actually really good. I remember seeing that, and I thought that was actually decent. I lost track after maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So
it was hard. It was hard to keep going into them,
Yeah.
The Saw series was rough there at the end.
I want to play a game.
The little dude on the back, the little mannequin.
How many games are we going to play? Someone just kicked that thing over already.
I will admit the doll was creepy sometimes.
It was creepy. Yeah.
So, but I agree with you on that. Yeah. That's definitely going to.
Yeah.
Matt Jacobsmeyer says horror movies that can actually happen are scary in my book. Like ones like the Strangers. That are, like I said, even the whole thing with the whole exorcisms, when they say that the exorcism and the poltergeist things were real, as far as that, as whole thing's gone with the whole White House retreat. There's that whole rumor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you grew up in this area, I'm sure you probably have heard that, but yeah, definitely.
Those Conjuring movies and things like that. I think they're just creepy. Anything with, we talked about that earlier, kind of possession, things like that. It makes you feel like creepy. It could really happen.
Yeah.
So definitely that's, and I'm going to go to a couple more on my list.
Hold on real quick. We're blowing up in the chat here real quick.
Shoot.
My cousin Brian says Children of the Corn and Candyman.
Oh, Candyman is fantastic.
Okay, so
Great movie.
Those are some throwbacks that I haven't heard in a while. Thank you, Brian, and thank you for tuning in.
Candyman.
And then Matt Jacobsmeyer says he loves horror films, but ones like those just creep me the hell out. Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you on that. Those are the ones that really kind of creep me out and whatnot.
There will be a new Candyman too.
Let's see what we got here. And then Matt Bauer says the only horror movies I really enjoy and can watch more than once are anything by Rob Zombie. Really good movies with those. Like what's the one where they
House
ride
of a
off?
Thousand Corpses.
Yeah, and then
they did
Go Out to Freebird. Oh, what a great movie.
They did he actually redid the Halloween. Said he just made them Rob Zombie.
White House Retreat. Yeah, that's what it was. Cabin in the Woods, Quentin Reed, thank you for tuning in. Says
That's a
Cabin
good
in the
one.
Woods is another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything like that too is kind of creepy. The Cabin in the
It
Woods
is.
thing aspect,
Right.
or like The Hills Have Eyes, or like the
Hills
whole
Have Eyes
really
was-
weird kind of dirty. Like you
There's-
almost felt like dirty watching some of the stuff that they did in some of those.
There's a good one on Netflix that's been out there for a while called Hush, and
Yeah.
it's really good. I'd recommend watching that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's more
Well,
of a realistic thing that could happen.
That's awesome. Go ahead and hammer out your list here because these guys are throwing a bunch of stuff at
Of
it.
course,
I love it. Oh,
of-
Devil's Rejects was the one I was
Devil's
thinking
Rejects,
of.
there
Yes,
you go.
thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate that.
I mean, I always have a special place for the original Halloween.
Okay.
I think it because you didn't have to show gore, you didn't have to do anything to still scare you. John Carpenter was kind of the
Was
guy.
it because you had something for Jamie Lee Curtis at a young age?
She was pretty stacked, even.
I mean,
So back in the
she
day.
was, yeah, that's what people loved about her. I think back in those horror flicks, she was the perfect, like, I guess, female role for it because
Yeah.
she was under duress. She would scream.
Yeah,
And
she
then,
was
of
good.
course, yeah.
She was fantastic in it. But yeah, the original Halloween is definitely up there for me. I'm sure a lot of people have that. And then The Shining.
The Shining.
I mean,
yeah.
anytime I catch that on, I'll still watch it.
Yeah.
My wife's like, "Why are you watching The Shining in the middle of the day?" I'm like,
It's
"I
just-
don't know.
It's just a classic.
Jack
You can't go
Nicholson.
wrong with that.
It's great. It's great." So I've got the Thing.
The
which
Thing.
is so good. And you know what? I didn't see that till like a few years ago. I
Yeah.
feel like I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And I love Kurt Russell anyways,
It's a good movie. It's old.
Uh,
That's an older one too.
yeah. I'm a
But
big Kurt Russell fan. So anything with Big Trouble in Little China, Tango and Cash,
yeah,
anything with Kurt Russell in the 80s was awesome.
absolutely.
Escape from New York was good. So
Escape from
which
New York
shot,
was really
shot
like
in Missouri.
that was one of those ones that was like kind of like cheesy good.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Shot in Missouri too.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. So
We got my cousin Brian says Wrong Turn. Not all 5 of them, but the original was jacked
Right.
up with the inbred hillbillies. Yeah, those things kind of creep me out as well too. Man.
absolutely.
Yeah. We got Mike Roseski says 3 from Hell is the most recent out of the Rob Zombie trilogy. I heard about that. It's
I
like from his
haven't seen that yet.
unseen like kind of thing. He had movies that apparently weren't released that he's releasing too, maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we've got The Ring still creeps me out. Carl says The Ring still creeps him out. You know what?
I
I mean,
mean-
if I had a little girl climb out of my TV set and start crab walking towards me all dirty and nasty like that, I would probably be
That's a little
creeped
creepy.
out too.
That'll
Yeah.
creep you out.
I don't say you're wrong for that, Carl. but thanks for tuning in too, and I always love the participation, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
So what else
my
you
number
got?
one, my number one, which would still scare me to this day, is the original The Exorcist.
Oh yeah, The
It's probably
Exorcist.
it's still hard to watch. I don't really like to watch it. Period.
It's
and
just
if you,
creepy.
and if you can be around that long, that movie, and then you can still creep people out, I think that's pretty impressive.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
there's
I
a
agree.
couple. There's a couple new ones I threw on here. For people, The Babadook. That's a really creepy ass movie.
I heard about that.
Super
actually.
creepy. It's kind of like an indie film, but I mean, it'll creep you out. Autopsy of Jane Doe, which is on Netflix.
Okay.
It's got Brian Cox and Emil Hirsch. We're both.
I
pretty
like
good
Emil
actors.
Hirsch. I liked him in Into the Wild.
They're both very good. It's
I
about an
didn't
hour
care
and-
for him in Alpha Dog, but Into the
Yeah.
Wild was a good.
That was
what
a good
flick.
movie.
Yeah,
but it's about an hour and 25 minutes. It takes about 5 minutes to get going, and it is on
really.
the rest of the time.
What was
So-
that one movie I'd asked you if you had seen? Where they're like at that Midsummer.
Oh my god!
Now
that was
for those of you who have not seen Midsummer, it is a deranged movie. I watched the trailer only, and I talk of only what I saw in the trailer, and it's something that it might be game changer for you if you like horror or just kind of thriller. I'd
and
say,
if you're into cults and things like that, I think what are they in Norway?
yeah.
I mean,
it's creepy. It's
Whoever
creepy.
came up with it had to have something going on in their personal life that made them come up with this story. And
Yeah,
you should
You
watch
wonder
it just
sometimes.
because it's so weird.
yeah. You wonder sometimes, like, how could someone come up with this kind of
You
idea?
got to be completely off your rocker
Yeah.
to come up with the whole story. And if you watch it, don't blame us for how it is.
Yeah,
but you should watch it just because it's like
It's worth it.
got to.
Yeah, it's worth it.
So out there.
We've got Tommy Dapron. Thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. He says all the Final Destinations, humor plus horror is great. I can
That's
agree
okay.
on that, dude. I do like kind of
Mhm.
the humor horror flicks too. And Final Destinations got more, I think, humor towards the end. They were more horror at the beginning, and then they kind of gradually got more kind of
Yeah,
like
there's
real
so many.
cheesy and
There's
kind
like
of funny
5 or
that way.
6 or something.
We got Matt Joseph saying Sinister is another
That's
one.
actually really good.
Yeah. And then we've got Andrew Atkins saying Don't Go to Sleep.
Don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one that with that
There's
little
so
girl
many.
going like whatever
No,
it is.
that's Hereditary.
Hereditary. That one looks creepy too.
That's a weird ass movie, and then the ending completely makes you feel like you don't know what just happened. But I'm not ruining it. But you're gonna be. It's confusing, but it's
That's
good.
crazy.
I mean, there are some moments on there that are very creepy.
I got
and
a fun
crazy.
fact for you.
Give me that fun
Our
fact.
our lifetime watcher here, Carl, says that he worked at the Shining Hotel for 2 years.
That is awesome.
That's
Carl.
awesome, man.
Love
that's a cool
That is
story and
very
just a
cool.
fun fact to have for
Very
sure.
cool.
Then we've got Matt Jacobsmeyer says we could have made a horror movie with that house when we went into Crystal City or whatever that was back in the day. Oh, I remember that. Was that out? I forget. We always had these cool places that we could go to where there was like just abandoned stuff, and we just would always go out and just explore, never do anything illegal or anything like that, but just kind of just see what we can find. And we always found like creepy, like old houses in the middle of the woods that were like falling apart. We always like go and poke around if that's what you're talking about.
There's a lot
but yeah,
of
that was pretty crazy. So what else, guys? If you have anything in the comments, any horror movies or sci-fi that we haven't touched base on, go ahead and throw them in there. But and we'll talk about it. Jimmy Tracy says Tiger King scared the hell out of me. That's let's hope that the rumors aren't true, like we talked about earlier about Nicolas Cage playing Exotic Joe in a made-for-TV series of the Tiger King, because I've heard that that's a thing. So
gotta find what you can get out there.
And apparently Nicolas Cage is still finding a bunch of work.
Yeah.
Why?
Because no one else wants to do it.
Because no one else wants to do it.
Give it to me, I'll do it. Why not?
Right. So, all right, guys, that was like the general aspect. I think that we've touched base on most of that.
Yeah.
Don't see anybody doing any comments on that. So we're going to jump into and start talking about some of the sports stuff that we've got for tonight.
Oh, yeah.
There's some sports news. We've got the NFL power rankings we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the 2011 redraft for the NHL. If we knew what we knew now, where would they go and what team would they be going for? Thought that would be a pretty interesting thing for you guys to participate in, and maybe make some suggestions of what you think for that draft class, because it was actually not too bad. And some other small stories that we've got too. And then, of course, if you guys have any questions about any sport or anything like that we have not talked about, let me know in the chat, and we'll address them as we see them and let you know what we think about them. So starting off, tragic news in the sports world. Don Shula dies at 90 years old.
One of the best coaches ever.
Yeah.
Best coaches.
Only coach to go undefeated in an NFL season with the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Right.
He won 2 Super Bowls. I think he won, I believe it was 72 and 73.
Okay.
33 seasons as the coach.
That's crazy.
Most coached, most wins. He's tied for most Super Bowl losses, which is not a positive thing, but hey, you got to get there.
But is it really a negative thing?
I don't think it's a negative thing.
Because, I mean, he made it there. Like you said, you made it there, and he had a chance to win it. So he's shown that he can get there, no problem.
It's hard to be there. He played for 6 years, which I did not even know that he played.
Really?
Actually, he played for 6 years. Yeah.
So the guy's got record for most wins, did you say?
Record for most wins, most games coached.
So Don,
Super Bowl champ 72, 73. So he's
Don Shula, rest in peace, man. One of the greatest coaches of NFL of all time. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, he lived a very long life. So for him to made it to 90 is probably a blessing in the day and age that we live in. So so that's some tragic news. We wanted to get that out of the way, because normally we don't talk about the bad news, but that's a man worth talking about and remembrance for
one of the best coaches of all time, and also an Ace Ventura Pet Detective.
Right.
Yes.
For sure. That's great. The both of the Ace Ventura movies, not sci-fi and
what
or
do you
horror.
know about
However,
Ray Finkel?
Yeah, if you have free time in the quarantine, those are always two great movies to touch up on as well.
Absolutely.
So,
oh yeah.
We have NFL power rankings. So last episode, we actually talked about the NFL and, the teams that we figure were going to be at the top. Some of them aren't going to be a big surprise to you, and some of them might be. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I also had Mark basically go ahead and write down what he thought his top 10 rankings were for the NFL. So make sure you guys let us know in the chat if you disagree or what you think. The list that I will be reading was off of, I believe, ESPN's power ranking. So I'll let you guys know what they got, and then Mark will give you theirs. And then, of course, like I said, just put in the comments of what you think. Matt Jake, while we're waiting, says, read an article today, not sure if it was real or not, but it was about Patrick Kane being trade material, and the Blues were brought up. Again, not sure if it was real or not. Thoughts or confirmation?
Man,
I will tell you right now, it would be an entertaining aspect. I think it's fake news. I don't think that the Chicago Blackhawks are trying to shop Kane, and if they did, I don't think the Blues would have enough cap space to bring him over.
I also think,
and even if they traded a bunch of people, what would you have to give up to get Kane? And I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to have his caliber of a player play for the Blues.
right.
But do you had to ask yourself, is he a problem in the locker room? Is it something that's going to break up the camaraderie that we already have if we get rid of pieces that are significant to what we have going on? So I think that would be more of another team that's trying to rebuild or trying to be a contender would probably have way more to throw at them and give them draft picks or something like that if he really was on the block.
Yeah.
I will look into that, Matt, too, and try to get some more information on it. And if not by tonight, maybe next episode we can resurface that on Thursday and see if more information has come out for that for sure. So starting off with the NFL power rankings, obviously number one, it's Kansas City. I mean, there's no.
I got the Chiefs. I mean,
the Chiefs are number one. They're the champs. They're going to be basically trying to protect the belt or the trophy and bring it back home again.
Really, I mean, on paper, just everything that they have. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is explosive, anyways, and Tyreek Hill, Kelsey.
Oh, he's got weapons.
He's got weapons.
But the scarier thing though is that you have like McCole Hardman and other rookies that are phenomenal that are right below them, right? And Robinson. And it's already shown that Patrick Mahomes can use those guys where they come in for one play and he hits them for 50 and 60-yard touchdown, just gut right down the middle shot, and he hits them every time, man. So they're a dangerous team. I think that's a no-brainer. Kansas City is number one.
They're a lot of fun to watch, and I'm definitely right there. They're first on my list, and I don't see any reason for Mahomes slowing down. I think he's embraced this run and gun type of mentality, and he can beat you multiple ways. And
it's going to come down if he just stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. Yep. He took a couple shots last year, but look, he's a Super Bowl champion, so he found a way to work through it. So
number two we have on NFL Power Rankings, Baltimore Ravens. I don't think that's a surprise either.
That's who I have.
You got to.
I mean, you kind of gotta. I mean, I worry about Lamar Jackson the second year. You got to see what he's capable of, but I don't see.
Well, this is Lamar's third year. Right?
Third year.
Because I think I think he actually started the year before, not maybe the entire season, but he came in at the end because he's the one that knocked Flacco out. And then because I think he played 4 or 5 games at the end of the season, they actually won, and he actually ran the ball well. He just didn't throw the ball that well. And then he came back out now this past year as a quarterback that could throw better, not just run the ball.
I think they're going to be after him hard this year.
Well, I think, how can you shut him down, though? Because if he's got weapons too, then, he has opportunities.
He's got weapons. He definitely. I worry about the arm holding up. Mahomes' arm is a completely different animal, but we'll see if his arm.
The sidearm throws.
Because in the NFL, you can only run for so long.
Yeah,
and they're gonna catch you. And you can see that from past quarterbacks who, RG3, guys like that who they catch you eventually. Michael Vick. They're going to catch you.
They catch on. They catch on to your style, and they catch on to what it is that you do that makes you successful, and they find ways to shut that down.
Find a way to shut that down. Yeah. So we'll see how running free he'll be next year.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
But they're second on my list too.
Okay. Number 3, we have the San Francisco 49ers.
That's who I have.
Like I said, the first 3 or so are going to be definitely pretty easy.
Yeah,
going to be pretty easy here. Going into number 4, you have the New Orleans Saints.
I had the Saints.
Okay.
I did not do this off NFL either.
You're good, man.
This is what I'm going for. I'm a big fan of Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
As long as you have Drew Brees, you're always going to compete. He's probably got more respect than any other quarterback in the league, just as much. I mean, he still can play, and he's a gamer.
They got to find a way, though, to get Alvin Kamara going again.
Yeah, they kind of dragged him at the end, and I don't know why. I mean,
I don't know.
They just kind of went away from him.
Yeah, I don't know what their deal was with that, but they needed to find a way to get him more involved.
Start throwing him more.
Yeah, obviously the Drew Brees injury didn't help. No. That stunted it, because then when you have a full season with a quarterback that's not injured and then a running back that's not injured, they can get some more chemistry and then make something happen. But I think that was definitely something that
definitely threw things off. He did not have the normal Alvin Kamara year last year, and he's way better than what those stats showed for last year.
I had second pick, so I ended up getting him, and he was a huge dud for me. I had Derrick Henry as well. So could you imagine if I would have had Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, I would have won my fantasy league this year.
Absolutely. McCaffrey, also a badass. So big fan of him.
So number 5 on the list, we have the Seattle Seahawks.
I have them a little bit lower. And I'm just doing this because I'm not sure about Tannehill,
Okay.
but I'm going Titans. I love Henry.
Wow.
I love the young core of receivers they have.
They have talent for sure.
There's talent there. I don't know about Tannehill. I'm going kind of high on Tennessee, but
I don't know, man. I think that Tannehill.
A lot of people don't have a good feeling about him.
Well, is he a flash in the pan? Did he come in and have like some success with what was going on, and now are they betting on him and hoping that's going to pay off?
Right.
Because if they do, then that could be their downfall.
That's the risk. But he's got weapons. I mean, when you've got a dangerous running back, you've got wide receivers who are young and can run down the field just as fast as anyone else.
Right.
As long as you don't make mistakes, you're going to be competitive. And look where Tennessee went last year. I don't think anyone
that was
had them going there.
That was purely on the grounds that they got rid of Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he needed to get out. He is a flash in the pan. He comes out his first game and throws like 5 or 6 touchdowns. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be fantastic in the NFL. And then Mariota was just a bust. He was he was terrible. Like I didn't think that he was going to be anything from the get-go anyways. So
he had a lot to live up to, and he didn't.
Yeah.
At least
so you had Tennessee there at number 5, where they have Seattle on this.
I have number 5, yeah.
All right. Number 6, they have the Green Bay Packers.
I've got the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, okay.
Which is, a little different. They got weapons.
That running back is phenomenal.
I think they're getting better. Yeah, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook's great.
The year before, but he came back pretty strong last year. I think he'll be fine, and I think the Vikings, they're due to win.
Yeah.
Minnesota's been there.
Who knows, man? They just need a quarterback.
Diggs is gone, but I'm a big fan of Adam Thielen. He's one of the best wide receivers right now.
Yeah, where did Diggs go?
Buffalo.
Ooh, interesting.
Which Buffalo needed, because, there wasn't much of a down.
And they have a quarterback
down the field threat, Josh Allen.
Now.
The only thing is he's short.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quick passes. We'll see if he can throw it over the heads of the line, but he's a fun quarterback to watch.
Hey, number 6 with Green Bay. You got to remember they have Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal running back as well, too. I think he's going to do nothing but get better and come back out. Now, Green Bay needed a running back. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers needed somebody that could run the ball so that way it could open up to allow him to throw the ball.
Right.
And I think we saw a small sample of that first year with new coach.
Yeah.
And they had some success. I mean, I know they didn't go where they probably wanted to go, but they had some success with the recipe that they put out this past year. Imagine if it's polished up and they come back out next year with a little more understanding of each other and how they work and playbooks and whatnot.
They need to get the run defense fixed because, San Francisco, they just ran it down their throat. Yeah. I don't think Jimmy G had to do a thing that game.
Well, you remember too, we talked about this last week that San Francisco also had multiple running backs that were playing fantastic at the same time.
He just ran down their throat. And if you can run like that, you're going to dominate the clock. You're going to dominate the game. And you're not even going to get the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands. Yeah. You're just killing the clock and running the defense to no end.
I agree. Yeah. We got the Tampa Bay Bucks at number 7 because of Tom Brady, obviously. That's ESPN. That's ESPN. So they got Tom Brady. They're moving him up to number 7 in the list. And don't get me wrong, they have Mike Evans. They got a bunch of dangerous weapons there. So if Tom Brady can utilize those weapons and can understand the playbook right out of the gate and make them competitive, then I can see it. But I don't know if I'd put them at 7.
That's high. Yeah. I like Godwin a lot. I think the Ronald Jones Jr. He's going to get more.
We haven't seen really a large sample size of him.
Right. And I've talked about this before where I think great quarterbacks can make okay players even better. I think Peyton Manning's one of those guys. Sure. I think Aaron Rodgers was one of those guys. And I think Tom Brady can, if you give him something to work with, he's going to make them even better.
Yeah.
So I don't completely disagree. It's awfully high.
Yeah, I think so too. Who'd you have at 7?
I've got Green Bay.
Green Bay. So that was a little flip flop, right, as far as how you had them. I had them at 6 here from ESPN. You have them at 7. There's nothing wrong with that pick there, I don't think, because there's a big question mark still above their head as far as are they going to produce and get better from the last year? Is Aaron Rodgers digressing as far as his talent goes? Because injuries might, have been following him in the last couple of years.
He's been getting hit.
Yeah,
more and more. It's harder for him to get away. And you know what? He might need some help on the defensive end, on the defensive side, because, you start getting in these holes and plus they've run the defense down.
Yeah.
Green Bay's got to do something about stopping the run.
They do. I agree with that.
You just completely put yourself in a hole when the other team can control the game.
Yeah.
It's just can't even get Rodgers out there to fix it.
That's true. Yeah. True. The number 8 spot actually was Tennessee. So they're actually
They're-
looking at Tennessee. Their defense was tough. Derrick Henry is a
Oh,
monster.
he's a monster.
And
Very
and they have some young wide receivers there as well too. So there's some hope that Tennessee, number 8 in the power rankings as far as this season starts up. Who do you have at number 8?
Very high on Tennessee, but on number 8, I have Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle, it feels like it's always going to be competitive.
I mean, Russell Wilson's unbelievable.
He is. He's going to compete even when he doesn't have his best stuff
I think that's
out
why
there. He
ESPN put him at 5.
Finds a way to win. Even they might be not the prettiest games,
right?
But and
they're
it's
always
tough
competitive.
Tough to win in Seattle.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
always got a big advantage being at home.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Number 9 on ESPN's power rankings for the NFL. They have the Minnesota Vikings, which you had up a little bit higher on your list.
Yes, I had them a little higher. I just feel like,
and this is also, and my question is too, is I don't say that I disagree strongly with you, but like with losing Diggs and still having Thielen, who it took a while for Thielen, and then
he got
you got to think too, like Cousins is not the guy.
It's hard to.
A lot of money spent on him, and literally, if you're looking at the new age quarterbacks right now, Kirk Cousins is a guy that doesn't have, and he doesn't have the fire. He doesn't have the want to win. I don't think that's going to be a winning recipe for you. If you stick with that.
Reminds me of.
Who's that?
Jay Cutler.
Yeah,
Jay Cutler had the ability to throw the ball, but he had no guts.
Yeah, I think he lost his passion.
This ain't a shot at personal Jay Cutler, but I mean the guy was really talented and was gutless out there.
Yeah,
there's nothing worse than having someone who doesn't really want to.
The funny thing I think with Jay Cutler is if you go to Google and just do Jay Cutler smoking, there's a bunch of these pictures of Jay Cutler that people have put cigarettes in to make it look like he's smoking. It was a thing from years back. It's still out there. I guarantee you guys should definitely check it out.
I put Cousins kind of in that realm. I think they could do it. They might need a little help, weapons wise. They've got pieces, but Kirk Cousins is going to have to put it all together and find a way to want to win more.
Yeah,
so he's got the money, he's got the contract. So
I agree.
You need to prove something with that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I 100% couldn't agree more. Number 10, final on the list, we have the Dallas Cowboys, which I don't know if I agree with that. I hope that they
they're so hit or miss. We talked about that
the
other day, with Dak, because now you got Andy Dalton. Or not Andy. Did Andy Dalton?
Andy Dalton actually went to Dallas and signed a 1-year deal behind Dak Prescott to go over there, which is strange to see the what they call him, the Red Viking or the Red Rocket or something like that.
The Red Rocket. Well,
that just reminds me
of the last few years in Cincinnati.
Yeah, the Red Rocket doesn't remind me of Andy Dalton either. It reminds me of a South Park episode that you guys should check out as well too.
Or a name that someone yelled at me when I got off the school bus.
Wouldn't be surprised. Wanted to mention as well that this program today is brought to you by Pale Productions.
Pale Productions.
And we were actually sponsored by many different sunscreen manufacturers.
SPF 500. They're
donating them to us in the dozens, and they're telling us to try them out and plug them. So
these lights are bright in here.
They
get burnt from this. Luckily, I've got a full jersey on, so it should be okay.
Thank you for joining into the Nameless Shameless podcast, aka Pale Productions, with the two biggest gingers in St. Louis. So that's an interesting list, though. NFL Power Rankings. I don't think that there's anything crazy about that list. I think that ESPN has it accurately. I think that those might be the top 10. Maybe you take Dallas or somebody, and I think Buccaneers might be 10 on the list just because it's a big question mark.
That's exactly who I have at my 10 is Tampa Bay. And I think it's just because there are weapons there. You've got Tom Brady. I'm curious how he finds a way to make it all work. And if he can.
Yeah, if Tom Brady can make it work, then we'll see it. It could be a very interesting thing.
Yeah. Tom Brady.
Yeah. So
gotta love him for what he is. He might not like him, but he is the best.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I agree.
Yep.
So and some other news, guys, if you like the NFL power rankings or have any one of your own, post in the comments. Let us know what you think. We would love to kind of see if anybody has any kind of wild predictions for teams that maybe weren't very good last year that they think are going to be good the next year or two coming up. Moving on, we got a couple short stories here we want to talk about. So one, opposite of NFL, we'll go to racing real quick. There's another incident in an iRacing event that was going on with Pagano, Indy 500 winner from the year before, I believe. Vocally telling people to take out a driver, which is just an etiquette aspect of racing you don't do. And then I believe it was Lando Norris was the guy's name. I'm not sure what nationality he was. I was trying to understand him. He has a very thick accent during his interview, but he basically called him out and was saying that, in a real life incident if you're in a race and you try to take somebody out. That is like
the ultimate no.
Yeah,
Ultimate shameful.
that's so frowned upon in the racing world. So that was just a little story that I found that I thought was pretty interesting. But we've got a lot of hockey stuff to talk about. I'm excited about this.
It doesn't get old to me.
No,
right?
No.
Always love to talk about hockey.
No. I mean, hockey's fun. I'm excited that we're hopefully getting this going on.
Yeah.
Will Higgins is tuning in. What's up, buddy? Thank you for listening in. We're going to talk some hockey here real quick and see if you guys saw any of these articles or anything that were out, and then also go over the 2011 redraft as far as if they knew what they knew now, who would go where. And I've got just a little top 10 list there to see if you guys what you guys think about it and if there's anything that you want to throw in on it. So starting off, there's a cool video, Joe Thornton. So Jumbo Joe. He has a video that's out there right now with his daughter. Everyone knows his big mangy beard that he has and has had in the playoffs, and is known for it in the NHL. Joe has a video with his daughter doing like a what is that, Bewitched or whatever it is, or I Dream of Jeannie or whatever the one thing was, and she like kind of blinks her eyes and then his beard just disappears and they just smile and walk off. So it's actually pretty cool. If you're a hockey fan, then you'll know that basically that's a big deal that Jumbo Joe doesn't have his beard anymore, because that's kind of how he's known, I should say.
I wonder if he finishes with the Sharks. I wonder what his contract is. He done?
I don't know.
After this year,
I don't know. A lot of things could change because of the whole COVID and the shortened or potentially digging into the season. I'm hopeful that they get it going again.
I think he was a little. I'm not sure exactly where San Jose is in the playoff picture, but I think he kind of was looking to maybe getting moved. Maybe into a more competitive.
It's possible
team, but because he's at the end. We know he's at the end, but
if you watch that video of him and his daughter, you'll see that his physical condition doesn't look good. He's got like a dad bod / beer belly going on, and
I have that, but I'm not playing hockey.
Yeah, conditioning is a real thing, Joe Thornton. And,
it really is.
You had some off time right now, so people would probably expect you to not be looking like that, but. I can't judge. Some other news. So we have a good deed in the NHL world. Sidney Crosby, whether you love him or you hate him.
Oh, yeah.
He donates 100,000 meals to Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank in the midst of everything that's going on. So to have Sidney Crosby, come out and do something like that as an ambassador for the sport, as somebody that, like I said, there's a lot of animosity towards him. Some people you either like him or you don't.
He's good.
I like him. I don't dislike. I can't let us early on Sidney Crosby kind of whining or how he used to, whine at the refs and stuff like that. I can't take away that he's a good player.
I still think hockey is the most genuine sport. You see all these things like this, and even the Blackhawks do a lot of stuff with kids, and I think hockey is just more genuine than anything.
Yeah, I do too. I think we got a piece of that though with the Stanley Cup.
Absolutely.
With Layla, with
absolutely
the parade. The players were it was
very cool.
So cool to see them giving back to the people in the parade, and putting kids in the Stanley Cup for a picture and whatnot, and it was just an incredible sight.
What a great atmosphere. I'd have to say maybe the best moment, and a thought that me and my brother and my dad thought we'd never have together. We never thought we'd see the Cup go down Market
I'll tell
Street,
you what.
And we got to see it. And we got to spend it together. It's a very cool moment for us, for sure.
I'd say one of my memorable moments of the Stanley Cup victory was whenever we had gotten the invite to go to the local rink where we grew up playing at. And it was incredible just because of the fact that I was touching the Stanley Cup with my brother and his new wife and their two kids, and then my mom and my dad. And there's this moment where you're thinking it can't get any better than this.
Right. And I got to be there for a part of that. It was very lucky for Phil to let me be a part of seeing the Cup.
Yeah, thank you to the Maroon family for inviting us. And
shout out to the Maroons for letting me.
300 plus people in a small environment, and it was very hot in there that day too.
Oh
I
man,
it was. It was very hot in that day, but it was very cool because they didn't have to do that, and they incorporated it into letting us be a part of their day of the Stanley Cup. So, Patty, Big Phil, Justin. Cool. I've got the whole family. I could say it for sure. Jen, I didn't forget about you either.
Yeah.
And Pat, man, I posted a video. I'm going to post it up in the comment section later as well if you guys didn't get a chance to see it. I believe it was on Channel 5. They had a really cool video about the hometown hero, and it's really neat for Pat, and I thought it was really cool. So I'll let you guys have a look at that after the show.
I mean, could you write it any better?
You really could
to have someone from the local kid come in, score that goal against Dallas. I mean, I was at OSP Tap House with my maroon jersey on, and I mean, this is it.
Great.
You couldn't even write that.
Yeah, I remember running around the house saying he did it. Patsy did it. We always called him Patsy.
Yeah, it was. Never forget it. It was awesome, and we'll never forget it.
Andrew Atkins says you'll never see another parade like the Blues put on. I agree with you, man. And you know what the sad thing is? I had to miss it. I was working that day, and I didn't get a chance to go out there. I missed like the bulk of it. I saw some of it on TV. I just had obligations, obviously, and I needed to do what I needed to do. So, one thing I do regret is that. But hey, I'm hopeful that we get another one, so that way I can attend the second one.
I think the interaction. I mean, those players knew what it meant to the city,
right?
So to have them be, bringing the cup into the crowd, they knew what it meant here. A lot of these people in this town thought they'd never see one,
right? And
what an experience! And God, we loved every
no doubt
about it.
Mike Grzeski says Brett Hull. That's all I'm going to say. Brett Hull.
He lived. He was outspoken in the public. What we all would have done. Yeah, we'd probably been able to get away with it.
It's just, the funny thing too is that it's almost like Brett Hull won the Stanley Cup himself.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, I know that he's a part of the organization and he's one of the greatest of all time.
Yes, he is.
But the way that he was partying and the way that he was carrying himself throughout the parade and all that, we turn our head to it, and he's been better since then, and we're glad to see that
recovering from that parade.
He is still recovering from that parade for sure. Brett Hull went all out, if anyone went all out. So that was cool. That was all stemming off of the Sidney Crosby donating the 100,000 meals to the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank. Also, in another story that we saw, Wayne Gretzky actually came out and said in the modern day NHL. All right, this is a fun one too. In the modern day NHL, he said that he would have 2 players on his line with him if he could choose. Who do you guys think were those 2 guys? We're going to resurface this in a second because I haven't even told Mark as well. So, Mark, who do you think? Who do you think would be the 2 guys? The great one. Now, the great one says that he would love to play with these guys on a line. If you've seen the article, please don't spoil it in the chat. But I thought this was really cool because I couldn't disagree with them. But there's so much talent in the NHL. To hear the great ones say that if I had to choose my line mates, this is who it would be.
This is tough.
So let us know in the chat if you guys got a couple of them. We'll give it a minute just to kind of boil over, and we'll see what we got. So in lighter news, while you guys are hopefully posting some stuff up down there, John Kelly, voice of the Blues.
John Kelly
actually was suffering from COVID, had recovered from COVID-19, and he actually went as far as donating plasma to try to help learn and fight against this for somebody else and maybe help somebody else. So JK, we appreciate you, man. We can't wait for some hockey to start back up. And we're glad that you got a speedy recovery and you're doing that to kind of pay it forward. So I thought that was a really cool Blues story there. So
hockey players giving back again. It's just hockey community giving back. There's always, that's just what hockey is. So more love for the sport, even with that.
Yeah.
So
definitely. So going with that as well, while we're giving some time, like we said, the question that we're waiting for, if anyone wants to throw anything in the chat, Wayne Gretzky made a comment of 2 current NHL players that he said that he would love to play with them on his line. Who do you think it would be? And throw it out in the comments and let us know. We're going to just touch over real quick some notable free agents. For the 2020 season. At the end of the 2020 NHL season, there's some notable guys. Maybe they're a fit for your team. I know I have friends that are listening in from Michigan, and all around the United States. So if that's the case, and one of these guys could be a good fit for you as well. Starting off, obviously everyone knows because we're from St. Louis that Alex Pietrangelo is one of the big names as far as the defensive men that are on that list. So it's interesting to see him on there still, and that the fact that we've been signing other guys and it's looking more and more like we're probably not bringing him back. So that's, that is sad that, it's looking like that, because I do like Alex Pietrangelo. It's just, I don't think that he's going to be worth the money that he's going to demand. And the last thing we want to do is lock a guy up and then have him decline and then run into another Alexander Steen issue where he's not potentially supplying for you offensively like he was in his contract year, because he's having a hell of a year. Don't get me wrong. I can't take anything away from him there.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think that through. I mean, it's all about Pietrangelo is he going to work with us? Is he just
Right.
going to go out there and just look for the best deal he's going to get? If he's going to do that, then we won't. I don't think we'll have a real shot of signing
Right.
him. But if he's willing to, negotiate with us a little bit and
Yeah.
work with things, maybe cut the salary down as the years go, maybe we can make something work. You got a couple guys coming off the books.
Yeah, I agree.
Year, so
maybe you can make it happen. Maybe you don't, but it has to be reasonable. You can't
Right.
say, "Hey, we want a Stanley Cup. I am having a good career year as far as that goes in points," and you can't demand
right.
a bunch of money. I don't think. Maybe he can with it where he's at in his career. I just see it as being a smarter move for Alex Pietrangelo in the long run to try to facilitate a way to keep himself in the lineup, because the fact that we have Scandella and we have these rookies that are on their up and coming, and we also have Vince Dunn, and I like where we're at with our defensive core right now.
Right. And you can't handicap your franchise. And I think you're seeing it with Chicago.
Yeah.
They tied so much money into Seabrook and Keith.
Maybe why they're trying to shop Kane.
That could, and maybe you drop Kane and you get yourself a good young goalie, and you get a young defenseman. Maybe you get another forward. I mean, Patrick Kane, they're going to get some players for him. So I don't think that's completely off the books for Chicago to move him if they can get enough pieces. They got some good young players in Chicago, and if they can get a bunch for him,
being one of them.
I love DeBrincat.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a Hawks fan, but
he's got a lot of heart. I like that kid because
appreciative guy. So.
Well, he's not a cheap player. He plays the game the right way. Yeah, it sucks he plays on a team that is one of our biggest competitors, but I can't hate the guy. I respect talent. That's one thing that will never on at least our show. I'll never disrespect somebody for talent. Yep. I can maybe not like their character, but talent will never shy away from that.
We're all three on that same page for talent. We all appreciate the ability of the players in the game, no matter where they're at.
Yeah.
So
now another big name in the defensive free agents in 2020 for the NHL we have is Torrey Krug. Now I'm indifferent on him, man. Right? He's an energy guy. He's fast.
Yeah, he
can score. But he's one of those guys like Alex Pietrangelo. It's like, what kind of money is he going to demand?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that could really use good defensemen. I think of Toronto. I think of Toronto has all the pieces maybe up front.
Well, they've got like Tyson Barrie and a couple other guys that are coming up at the end of this year too that are free agents. So their defensive core needs some help. They were interested in Alex Pietrangelo originally too when we were talking about shopping him, right?
Yeah.
So that could be another interesting there.
Yeah. See what they do there.
Torrey Krug, though, I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? You think Torrey Krug's going to leave Boston? I think he might be one of those lifer. He might be like the Alex Pietrangelo of Boston.
I think he really likes it there.
I do too.
The team is competitive every year.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to maybe change his dynamic as far as what he adds to that team. And I think that he'll probably figure out a way to re-sign with Boston because he's been playing with them for a while. I think he got drafted there, correct?
Yeah, and I think guys who want to win there and they want to stay there, that's the guys you want on your team. They're gonna compete. They're gonna be aggressive every night. I think he fits Boston's kind of style.
Yeah,
I think he doesn't want to play anywhere else but Boston.
No, I agree with that.
See if the money's there.
Yeah, Nick Axley, longtime viewer as well. Thanks for tuning in. Nick says no, he's in Boston.
Yep,
I agree. I think he resigns in Boston, hands down.
Yep, I think he's a Boston guy. He's perfect. He loves it there. I think so. I think he'll work with them even.
Yeah.
If the money maybe not, you're competitive every year. Boston's a good team. So.
Yeah. We've got a little bit of some goalies that are on this list as well, too. You have Robin Lehner, who I really like.
Oh, I love Robin Lehner.
You have Braden Holtby and then Jacob Markstrom from Vancouver. Okay. So those are three other guys, goalies that are actually at contracts coming up at the end of this year. Here's my predictions on this. All right. Holtby's not coming back. They've got they got the rookie there that's shown that he can win and that I think he's not a head case. I look at Holtby as being kind of a head case.
Can be.
Okay.
Absolutely can be.
I like Robin Lehner. He's also thought of as being kind of a head case, but I think that's a guy that if you're looking for a competitive goalie and you add him to your team, he's immediately going to change the impact or, change the dynamic of your team with him being able to play as many games as he can play. And he also had a hell of a year, won Goalie of the Year award for the Islanders before they dished him off back to Chicago.
Yeah.
So Robin Lehner would be like out of those three goalies, probably the most and the one mostly touted for someone that's looking for a big impact player.
Big fan of Robin Lehner,
for
sure.
Now, I'm not a big fan of Braden Holtby. I'm not. I think he had his years. I just think that he's letting his head get the best of him. Now, I'm not saying that he wouldn't be good for another team somewhere.
Yeah.
But I just think that he is not where Washington's probably going to go.
I don't think he's where they're.
Yeah.
I think they're going to stick with the young guy and kind of roll him and let somebody take a chance on signing Holtby and paying more money. And
yeah.
I've never been really sold on Braden Holtby, even though they won that year and he had moments.
Yeah, he had,
But,
and his
you
team
know,
played good defense and offense in front of you. Score goals,
Yep.
you're going to win. You
Score a
get
lot
good
of
defense,
goals.
you're going to
Yep.
win, right? And Carlson backs that, and they had good D to help him win. So
Got the best goal scorer in the game right now.
right now, you also have
Colby.
Jacob Markstrom. Jacob Markstrom, Vancouver goalie. Vancouver's been increasingly getting better and better each year.
Kind of a sleeper. Markstrom,
Kind of,
I think.
Kind of.
Didn't
I think
get much
so.
attention.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that that Markstrom is one of those guys that he's going to give you his all. I think that with the team that he had in front of him, he's kind of grown into that player. He's had good years to where if you look at him, because of the fact that they haven't had much talent, he's still finished pretty high in wins.
Yeah.
And with getting Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser locked in on a deal. Me too.
Good player.
Me too. I really actually got him as a rookie in my fantasy league.
Yeah, he is a good player.
Yeah, he really is.
Yep.
It's the fantasy league that I don't pay attention to. Nick, if you're watching, Carl and those guys that are in there, I apologize. A lot of stuff going on with that, and I did not mean to tank in the league. So I blame Nick. He's my co-manager, and he's also watching tonight. So any comments, give them to Nick in the comment section. That was the three main goalies that we had. The other big name for offense that is 2020 free agents potential is going to be Taylor Hall, Mike Hoffman, and then Evgeny Dadonov. Now, I'm a huge fan of Mike Hoffman. Apparently heard he might be a locker room issue, but I like Hoffman's style of play. I think he would fit in with the Blues, and I think he would be a good player for us.
We entertained him, didn't we?
We did, like a year ago.
Yeah, there was a thought of maybe bringing him in. He fits our mold.
Yeah.
Like if we were getting him, that's the type of guy I think Berube would really like.
I do too. I think Hoffman would fit in good with us. And if it was one of those guys that wanted to sign, and also, once again, depending on how many, I think he's around a $5 million a year guy, maybe $6 million.
Yeah, that's
tough for our cap. I'm not sure if we got room for the luxury, salary cap.
Chemistry on the team right now.
Yeah.
You don't really want
to move around too much whenever
you don't need to move too much. And I think, we even have Vlad this year for the most part. And look where we're at. I mean, I thought we were playing great before the whole Corona thing went down. And I don't think there's any reason to really make a move. I love the Scandella pickup.
Yeah.
Scandella.
Yeah, Marco Scandella is definitely good. I think it's physicality. And whatnot fit in the fact that we're probably not going to see Bouwmeester.
He fits our mold. He is a Craig Berube type guy. And I think he meshes well with what we got. So.
Now, I'll say too that actually we have Mike Krzyzewski says, hi, he says Markstrom. He goes, if I were him, I would have went. He goes, I would want to leave Vancouver after being gang banged on a 3-on-0 in OT. Yeah, I hear you, man. I remember that. The Blues embarrassed him, and it is what it is. But you can't blame that on him because his team, and you know that as a goal. I know you're joking, but that's tough, man. Markstrom to me is not just your average run-of-the-mill goalie. I think he's a good goalie that's NHL ready. And I think that building a team around him, he's going to do nothing but get better and better. So I think he might stay in Vancouver.
Yeah, I think that's where he stays.
I think they're
up and coming.
Yeah,
they're going to be better. They're getting better every year. I would stay.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some hope there.
Now, a big topic though is like Taylor Hall. So I like Taylor Hall. Okay, he just gets hurt. So the big question would be is that if Taylor Hall was like, hey, you know what? Out of the last 4 seasons, I may have played 2.5 because of my injuries. I am going to take X amount of dollars because of that. And if he understands that he can be more impactful and possibly win with the team if he takes a little less money, he's gotten big contracts. And they just didn't pan out. He got him in New Jersey. He got it whenever he left New Jersey and went to, what was it? Did he go to Edmonton for a minute too?
He came from
Edmonton. Came from Edmonton, New Jersey. Then he was on Arizona this past year.
Arizona. That was my
and one other team maybe had him before he went to Arizona. Like it was a quick
break where he went.
Yeah, I can't remember now. It's just
I'm trying to think because I kind of lost track of Taylor Hall.
Yeah, that's a guy.
Not good.
Maybe that would be a guy if he came in for the right price. I think it would be interesting to entertain the idea of saying, "Hey, we can get a really elite style winger on a line potentially." Could you imagine if it was like a Tarasenko Taylor Hall line?
Yeah.
Guys that can shoot the puck quickly. I mean, Taylor Hall, even though he played for Arizona, still had some moments where he sniped and actually shown that he still has it,
Arizona played some good hockey this year. They were a tough team for the Blues every game. I don't know if anyone remembers those
I
games.
do, but that's I don't know if it's just that's that one team that somehow just
finds a way to
a
beat you
rhythm to beat you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Phil Kessel, I think, had one of the worst years of his career.
There's a lot of speed there. There's a lot of young speed in Arizona, and
Yeah.
Paul Bissonnette talks about that quite a bit. Of course, he's going to support the Coyotes.
But, yeah.
I don't think they're bad. I think they were kind of on the cusp of making the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
They were close, but and that was with Kessel having like a slow start, and I think he turned it on a little bit, but I drafted him and he just didn't do anything from the get-go.
Yeah.
A guy like Evgeny Dadonov was the last guy on the list that I have. Now that's a guy who you talk about playing on a Florida team with other guys that are talented, with like Mike Hoffman. And you also have Vetrano, I think, plays for there for him as well, who's like an up and comer. I'm kind of curious to see where he's going to go too, because he's showing a lot of upside.
I really like Florida.
I do too, but they can't win.
No,
they make a move to get a goalie, and then it just falls apart, like Bobrovsky, right? They make a move to get Bobrovsky, they bring him in to be an impact guy, and
completely.
When's all said and done, he gets hurt, I think, or struggles, and then that's why you can't pay big money for a goalie like that. Yeah. I think Bennington comes in, he wins the Stanley Cup. We signed him for $4 million per year. I mean, it is what it is, but that's not breaking the bank. Well, shoot, we're paying Allen the same amount of money.
Yeah.
$4.5 million, right?
I mean, yeah, you just can't tie so much money in your goalie. Montreal,
Carey Price.
A lot of money for Carey Price.
Why do you think his name is in the talks every single time when they're trying to shop him?
They're trying to find a way to get out from under that contract. There's some way to do it.
Yeah. So, but those were the notable free agents that we had in 2020 coming up. So who knows? Maybe one of those guys will be coming to your team. Maybe they'll re-sign where they're at. That's interesting. It's an interesting topic. I always like kind of looking to see who might be in the free agency pool, just to see if there's anybody that has any moving pieces right away.
Absolutely.
So the question we had one person that had responded back. One of the people that he thought was going to be on there, he said it was Connor McDavid. That was Nick Axley, and that is actually one of the people.
That's who that would have been my other pick.
Okay.
Then Ryan O'Reilly. I have an attachment to Ryan O'Reilly. I mean,
well, I think that if you're a St. Louis Blues fan, that there's no reason why you shouldn't have an attachment to Ryan O'Reilly.
That attitude, the work ethic. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly is he's always going to be remembered here for what he is and how tough he plays. And if I was playing with someone and I was a goal scorer, Ryan O'Reilly. Yeah. Ryan O'Reilly will find you.
He's a good setup man. He passes the puck well. Yeah. I think that was the Connor McDavid aspect there. Was definitely the hey, Gretzky would love to have the puck pass to him from there.
Right.
And then Mike Krzyzewski says has an option here. I'll let you give yours out first this time before I give out this one. Who's your second person?
Connor McDavid.
So you're going to say Connor McDavid?
I would have said Connor McDavid
O'Reilly?
Because of the love that he kind of has for his Oilers, and he thinks Connor McDavid is the future, which he is.
Yeah.
So Connor McDavid would have been my second choice.
Okay. So you have Ryan O'Reilly and Connor McDavid. All right. Mike Krzyzewski says Ovechkin has to be one.
You would think so.
And he is.
Yeah.
So it would be Connor McDavid and Alexander Ovechkin is who Wayne Gretzky actually stated or commented on and said that he would love to play on a line with those two guys. Could you imagine that line? Okay. Let's imagine like video
Ovechkin,
game line, right?
Gretzky,
Ovechkin, Gretzky, Connor McDavid. Those are all 99s. Yeah. Those are all guys that are going to excel in every stat that they're going to play on. So it would be fun. It's a fun thing to think about, to say, oh, well, if Gretzky played on the line with Connor McDavid and Ovechkin, what would that have happened if they were all in their prime, right? What would that really look like? Now, Wayne Gretzky commented this. I was on NHL.com and said that was his choice. And you got to remember, Gretzky's played with some pretty damn good people.
Really good players.
So, Yari Curry, your Robitaille and stuff like that as well. So some of these guys are also in like the lead in points and whatnot up there. So you can't really, they're not too shabby.
No. To pick those guys. I mean, Ovechkin, I should have thought. I thought he might go off the grid a little bit. And that's more of my attachment for Ryan O'Reilly.
Sure. I think he's going to break it. I think he's going to break the record. Honestly, it's
how cool
that guy is still physically in peak shape, and I think that he is going to continue to play until he does. Now, I don't know. There might be that one stipulation of saying, do you think Ovechkin will do it in as many seasons as Gretzky did? Now, because Ovechkin's doing it in the new NHL, I get that. So, who knows? That's something.
Goalies
that's
have
something
bigger
for
equipment.
Debate. Yeah,
it's harder to score. I think it'd be really cool if he gets close.
Yeah,
just the whole
I agree.
I think he'll get second at least.
I think so. Yeah, he's definitely getting second,
Yep.
if not first.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into the 2011 redraft because there's a bunch of really cool names that popped up. NHL.com actually posted this up if you guys want to go look at the list. I think they had some other names that were on there. We just took the top 10 and wanted to let you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to say the person who would be drafted first through 10, what their original position was in the 2011 draft, and then also what the new team would be that they would play on at that point. So let us know what you guys think about this because this was actually pretty fun and interesting to do. So if you have any comments as well, or maybe the order of this as well, I mean, all these guys are pretty good, so they could flip-flop certain places here and there. So starting off in the 2000, for the first draft pick overall in the 2011 draft would have gone Nikita Kucherov. All right, and he was originally drafted in the 58th position of that draft, which is crazy to think of for how talented that he is. And Nikita Kucherov would have gone to the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, interesting.
Could have used him.
Yeah, they could have, right?
I mean, you think of the
what
Oilers,
if Kucherov was there and then they got McDavid?
Those years of #1 picks that didn't work out, or didn't go their way. I mean, how many years were the Oilers the #1 pick?
Right,
it was multiple years. We won't bring up Neil Yakupov, but that did not work out.
No, it did not.
And it didn't work out in St. Louis either.
No, it did not. So number 2 on the list as the second draft would have been Mark Scheifele. He was actually originally drafted 7th overall. He would have gone to the Colorado Avalanche. So think of a Mark Scheifele on the Colorado Avalanche would be actually pretty interesting as well.
Really like him.
We have this one actually. This person digressed from the 2 spot originally to 3, and that would be Gabriel Landeskog. Gabriel Landeskog would have been playing for the Florida Panthers had he been drafted 3rd overall. So that's an interesting look at it as well too, with the talent that they have with Barkov. Would Gabriel Landeskog been a nice piece to add on? And if they still got another
that would have been a good piece to add. I mean, Florida, they're kind of like that team you just root for.
Yeah.
You don't hear much about them.
Right.
They've got some talented players there, but love to see them find a way to get back in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Landeskog would have helped.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. Mike says, I would be crying in net. That's hilarious. I hear you, man. If you had to face those 3 guys, I would be crying in net as well, for sure.
Unbelievable.
And then we have Greg Shadigan says, Center Ice Brew, I see. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did a nice little convo about that at the beginning in the general section. Greg, thanks for tuning in. We're trying to throw some craft beer out there and see if there's maybe we can make some suggestions for some local breweries that are around. So if anybody else has some, throw them in the comments. We'd love to hear what your comments are as well. So going on here, number 4 in the actual NHL 2011 redraft would have been Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. Now, he was actually drafted 104th overall because there was a size issue. They didn't think he was going to make it in the NHL. So Johnny Gaudreau in the redraft would go number 4th from 100. So he moved up 100 places.
Wow.
Okay. And he would have been playing for the New Jersey Devils. Now, do you know why that's actually cool if Johnny Gaudreau would have actually played for the New Jersey Devils?
No.
It's because he's from New Jersey.
He's from New Jersey.
He's from New Jersey.
Okay.
So that could have been a story in itself to have the New Jersey kid playing for the New Jersey Devils if he would have been drafted 4th overall in the 2011 draft instead of 104th because of his size that people thought was going to be a constraint as far as how
big is Gaudreau? Him and Kane.
Do you remember whenever Scott Hartnell picked him up in his first All-Star game and acted like he was a little kid because the guy did it with the kid and he tapped on each side?
Yeah.
He's obviously small enough to where Hartnell could pick him up and skate with him. And he is a tiny little dude.
I'm a Johnny Gaudreau fan, but I mean, when the playoffs come,
he can't do anything.
It's a man's game.
All right.
And if you're scared or if you're going to go to the corners, he's probably going to lose.
Yeah. Now, Jaden Schwartz is gritty. So for a little guy, he's gritty. Now, Gaudreau doesn't have that. So
he doesn't have that. Right.
He's got the speed. He's got the capability to score. But every time the playoffs come around, you're right. I can agree with you on that.
He becomes a ghost out there.
He becomes a ghost out there for sure. For sure. So number 5, hometown fans of St. Louis might be interested in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Binnington in the 2011 redraft. Jordan Binnington would have gone in the 5th round. He would have been moving up to the 5th spot from the 88th spot, and he would have been going to the New York Islanders. Another interesting aspect there because the Islanders have a very solid defensive and offensive team. They're like that kind of they're the closest team I think that plays like the blue style.
Yeah,
the Islanders. I like their gritty style. I like their team. They've overcome adversity with losing Tavares and saying, we don't need that guy anyways.
Who's the coach there?
Right.
New York. Do you remember?
Who's the coach in New York?
Is that Nashville's Who am I thinking of the coach in New York?
I can't think of him right now. Look that up real quick.
He's a shorter guy.
I don't recall at this moment. If anybody remembers the head coach of the New York Islanders,
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. I'll move on real quick just to the number 6 spot here. The number 6 spot in the 2011 redraft for the NHL would have been John Gibson, Anaheim goalie.
Great goalie.
He would have been moving to the 6th spot from the 39th originally drafted, and he would have been playing for the Ottawa Senators.
Barry Trotz.
Barry
Trotz, that's his style of hockey. It's kind of like the Blues, Craig Berube style of hockey.
Real gritty, in your face, going to hit you. Yeah. Grzeski just put Barry Trotz up there.
Barry Trotz, very good.
Thank you for commenting that back.
I just kind of forgot about him. So very good coach.
Nick actually says Islanders, student, Blues, Masters.
Yeah. But hey,
we've got odd championship. So we're the Masters for sure for this last year, but let's see if we can turn it. I would love for us to turn this into something more and have us be competitive year over year and be that team that people hate to see in the finals or whether it be
totally
the Western Conference or
I'll be that team.
Yeah.
I'll be that team everyone hates.
I would love to. Love to. Moving on, we've got in the number 7th pick in the 2011 redraft would have been Sean Couturier. He was actually drafted at the 8th spot, so he's only moving up 1 spot here. Sean Couturier would have been playing for the Winnipeg Jets.
He would have fit that system well too. He fits the Flyers too.
Yeah, I think
kind of a hard hitting,
gritty guy, tall guy. He likes to pass though.
Yeah, he does like to pass.
I mean, he's an assist guy more. To me, assist guy more than a goal scorer.
Right, I would say
but he's kind of coming into his own.
Yeah.
So.
Flyers were kind of coming on too towards the end.
They were learning how to play with one another. Now they got Travis Konechny and some other some guys that have been playing in that team when they were terrible.
Yep.
And they made a couple, I'd say, adjustments with what they were doing, and these guys are kind of coming together as a team now, which is nice.
The rookie goalie too.
Yeah,
they were coming in.
Yeah, what's his name?
Carter Hart.
Yeah, Carter Hart. Man, that kid has been playing out of his mind for sure.
Up.
Yeah.
Old Brian Elliott backing up. The Moose backing up there.
The Moose. We got number 8, Brandon Saad. Okay, Brandon Saad actually was drafted 43rd overall in the 2011 draft. Where they're moving him up to the 8th spot here, and he would have been playing for the Philadelphia Flyers. So interesting to him. Yeah. I mean, to me, he's a good player, but I don't really like. He's not an overwhelmingly player for me.
Yeah, he's good, but
I would have probably had him further down on my list.
I would have had him further down.
Yeah. Now, these next 2 guys I think are super underrated.
Absolutely.
So, in the number 9 spot, you have Mika Zibanejad. He was actually drafted in the 6th spot, so they're saying that he would have digressed and gone down to, or regressed, whatever the hell it would be, and moved down to the 9th spot.
I like Zibanejad.
I do too.
I really like him.
The comment Zuccarello made when he left the Rangers saying, I think he was an EA Sports comment that he made with like something as far as the stats that he had compared to Mika Zibanejad. And he said that he wouldn't have gotten those goals if he wouldn't have passed it to him or something like that. Really funny kind of comment on it, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
Mika would have been actually playing for the Boston Bruins. That is an interesting kind of turnout there.
See if
they're looking for that strong, their first line's so good that would have been like a second line guy that would have been phenomenal for them. They would have been a dangerous team.
They would have been.
But obviously some people get too big for their britches and then ask for more money. So could they have kept people from 2011 to now is a big question mark too.
Feels good to be Boston.
Yeah, it does.
That was so rewarding that it was a Bruins.
It was. From just being a Blues fan and getting beaten, getting swept.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a redemption.
No one thought we were going to be. I mean,
honestly, no one thought we were going to win the Stanley Cup.
I don't think anyone thought we'd beat Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought Winnipeg was going to be we wouldn't really have
I think that kind of set the pace for us because we showed that we could beat a team that has a dominant first line and a good second line. Yeah, we did. We
played hard.
So
that's how they do it.
Yeah, I agree. We
hit just as much as they did.
Now, this last guy we have, number 10 on the 2011 redraft, in my eyes, is one of the most underrated guys.
Very good player. We go back to Florida.
Yeah, Florida again. Jonathan Huberdeau actually was drafted in the 3rd spot overall. So NHL.com says that he would have dropped down and been 10th overall out of this list, which I think he would have been down further in the list for sure.
Yeah.
But he would have gone to the Minnesota Wild. So interesting. I mean, it's an interesting list.
It is an interesting list. A lot of good players, and it would have been interesting with this list of where they went. I mean, if the Islanders would have had Jordan Binnington.
Right. Or if Kucherov would have played for Edmonton.
Goalie issues in New York, they've kind of had him for a while. Forget about that Rick DiPietro. Remember that guy? Remember the contract they fed that guy? That was terrible. Just a disaster.
Yeah. So, I mean, and they do this a lot too. NHL.com, ESPN does it as well. I think that it's a cool thing that they do where they get these redrafts and they go back and look and say, hey, you know what you don't know then, and now you know.
Right.
This is probably how it would have played out. And I like doing these. So if any more of these do come up, we'll actually we'll go ahead and we'll talk about them and see if anybody else has fun with doing them there. So let's see here. We got some more people talking about the old coach Barry Trotz. Just a taste of being that team. LOL. Yeah, Nick, I agree for the whole Islanders and all that stuff and the coach movement as well. Yeah.
There's a very cool documentary with Gretzky, when they lost to the Islanders, they walked by the Islanders locker room. You had to walk by the locker room after they beat them in the Stanley Cup, and they were all exhausted. They were all with ice packs, and that's when Gretzky was like, that's what it takes to win. If we wouldn't have seen the Islanders and how they weren't even really celebrating, they showed that's what it takes to win. You gotta give it everything you got, and the Islanders basically showed the Oilers and Gretzky and them what it takes. I mean, there's a lot of talent in Edmonton. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, 100%.
To win the Stanley Cup, you've got to give it everything, and I think that's Gretzky goes back to those old Islanders.
Oh,
Who won 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
Oilers won the next year.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's always fun talking about some of those old fun facts for sure.
Very cool.
I mean, we went over a lot of stuff tonight. I mean, we had some 2011 redraft. I think was pretty cool. The NFL power rankings were nothing kind of surprising to me. It was kind of
all
there.
kind of on the same page.
Yeah,
really
I think
where
so.
Those were.
So
maybe there will be some. There's a lot of moves made in the NFL. So we'll see.
We'll see
where everybody ends up.
That'll be the big question.
Injuries too play a big part. Mahomes goes down, someone like that.
That always comes into play.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right. So football, there's injuries every week.
Yes.
It's fantasy football shows.
Now, the one thing that I wanted to talk about is the last thing that we have on our list here. And then if there's any comments or anybody that has any questions that's watching, that'd be great. But the Michael Jordan series.
Yes.
So The Last Dance, I just watched episode 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
That series is absolutely phenomenal, guys. Every episode that I watch, it gets better and better. If you don't have ESPN or anything like that, and you have internet and capability from a smartphone, download the ESPN app, check it out. It's called The Last Dance. Like I said, they're on the 6th episode, just came out this past Sunday. They do 2 episodes every Sunday. So there's 2 more weeks left of 2 more episodes each week, and they're going to finalize the story of one of the greatest basketball players I've ever, gotten to see in my life
ever.
And then the way that they unfold everything and give you the facts and let you kind of enjoy it is, I think, special. I think they did a good job on it. I think it's been possibly in the ESPN vault for a while, like they were waiting for a time like this to release it. So if you have not seen it, I strongly suggest that you absolutely give it a shot and let us know what you think about it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's awesome. I mean, I was raised during that time. My dad's a huge NBA guy, and anytime it was, Jordan was on, you had to watch. I mean, it was amazing every night. He was going to beat you, and he was going to tell you he was going to beat you, and there was nothing you could do to stop him.
Right. Yeah.
Anyone, everyone.
You know the thing that I think is the coolest thing about the Jordan story is that his swagger is just incredible. Like
he reeked of it.
He had the gambling thing that comes up, which I think everybody might have remembered from the Jordan days, anyways. Yeah. But I don't see him as being a guy that necessarily. I mean, yeah, he has a lot of money, so his gambling is a lot of money. Gambling is a little bit of money. Like it's the same thing to a little bit of money for us. Right. $100,000 to him is like us betting $100, and it's crazy to say that people can think that way, but you really need to check it out and see, cause it'll give you a whole different perspective on Michael's point of view on it. And I actually like the animosity between the old, Detroit Pistons and Isaiah Thomas and him.
Those were some nasty Piston.
Clearly some turmoil still between the two. I mean, he even says this day, he still don't like him.
Yeah.
So
there's a respect there,
right?
Because of, who they were. But other than that, leaving Isaiah off the USA team.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he should have been there.
I mean, and like Michael Jordan said, besides Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas is the next best point guard. So like he's not going to doubt the man's talent.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, there was
Magic,
and it was competitiveness, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing too that I thought was really cool about the newest one was the Tony Kukoc story. Tony Kukoc story is, as far as you got to look at it, with the turmoil between the front end of the Chicago Bulls and Scottie Pippen turmoil and whatnot with the front end, and then the fact that they were talking about getting Tony Kukoc.
Yeah.
That just getting watched that, or just watching that episode 6 and seeing how that stuff unfolded was really neat. So once again, strongly recommend if you guys have not seen it to definitely
very good.
definitely take a look.
I get a little tired because the Fifth Element
The
recommendation.
Fifth Element wore you out.
It wore me down a little bit, and then I started the documentary there with the Bulls. I just thought I'd hit up the 5th episode and did that, and I think I caught it when they had that famous scrimmage where they broke up the All-Star teams, and Magic and
Magic was talking
Jordan
trash.
were going back and forth, man.
You don't talk trash to Michael.
No, put it right on you, and he did.
Right,
so,
right.
Best ever. Can't wait to keep watching it.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, it's getting better every episode.
So hey man, that's pretty much what I've got for the night, man. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I had fun. I look forward to, if you want to come on again, you're more than welcome. And if not, you can always call in. I know with having the new baby, it's definitely a little bit tighter schedule.
The new baby's tough. We always find a way. And I got some wonderful nieces that I'm going to have to go get Starbucks in the morning because they've been really helping us take care of him. So a shout out to Tessa and Lily for helping us with Ryder here at the beginning. So
Tessa and Lily, thank you so much.
Dad, we're finding something new out every day.
There you go. There you go. Though. And hey guys, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, just go to the comment section. Any likes or shares or whatever of the video. If you thought that any thing that we talked about tonight is worth sharing with your friends or family, go ahead and share it, man. It should be a public video, and we would love to hear as much feedback and comments as we can get.
Absolutely.
So
thanks for having me.
Thanks again, guys, and have a good night.
All right. Laters.